Getting better in Warzone is every player's goal. Improving your gameplay just feels so rewarding. Yet I still see the same oversights that players are still making every day that, if fixed, can improve their gameplay that much more. Whether you're a new player or someone that just wants to get better in the game, you'll find this video useful on what not to do whenever you're on the field. So without wasting any time, let's jump in and cover 8 mistakes that new players are still making in Warzone. So the first mistake that I see that noobs still make is not knowing the importance of cash. Simply put, get your cash economy going. Cash is king in Warzone because it allows you to buy your loadout that much quicker, so you're better equipped in gunfights. Also, you can buy UAVs so you can non-stop push other enemy teams when you know their location. Self-revives, ammunition boxes, and rezzing your teammates, the list goes on. Don't be a broke boy, get your cash up. Loot boxes, engage with enemy teams to take their cash, or complete contracts around the map to get more money. The more money you have, the more equipped and ready you can be during the game. The second mistake is not prioritizing the loadout as soon as possible. I see a lot of guys just taking their sweet time in the first couple minutes of the game. Your first priority when the game starts is to get your loadout. So either kill other enemy teams for their money or loot quickly. Don't stop to enjoy the scenery, don't look at the birds flying around. Get your cash quick and pop the loadout. Once you get the loadout, you'll be more comfortable when you approach gunfights, and your chances of winning gunfights are that much higher. The third mistake that I see is not learning movement. Personally, I wish I worked on my movement techniques a lot sooner. And I'm not just talking about slide canceling when you travel across the map, but actually executing these techniques during a gunfight. Learn to slide cancel around enemies when you challenge them so you can break their cameras. Start bunny hopping across enemies to make yourself harder to hit. Or perform drop shots when it's the right time. I'll admit this took me a while to nail it down, and I died a lot trying to practice it during games. But once you get these techniques down, your confidence in gunfights will greatly increase. Because that's what happened to me. Kinda. Now on to the fourth one, and that one is not using bounties enough. Bounties are great when you want to play aggro and push enemy teams. Not only do they give you a general area of where the enemy is, but you also get bonus money when you successfully take them out. But what I don't see often is using bounties defensively. When you're all alone and trying to regain and there's no contracts nearby, just grab the bounty. Bounties give you free info of where the enemy is so you can stay away while you regain. And if you're lucky, the bounty can get poached, which gives you free money for doing nothing. So next time you find yourself in this situation, grabbing the bounty is better than nothing, and use it as a defensive tactic. Now the fifth mistake that I see is not playing aggressive enough. I often see lower skilled players playing very timid, and that's why they're stuck playing at an average or below average level. More aggressive players get into gunfights a lot more often, and because of that, they gain a lot more experience in fighting enemy teams. Think of it like playing a single player or an RPG game, and in that game, the more enemies you kill, the faster your player gains experience points. And if you want to get through higher level enemies or bosses, leveling up your character is essential. This is pretty much Warzone, except it's yourself that gains experience points. Playing against good players can be tough, but you can only get better by constantly getting into gunfights more often. You will die a lot, but it's never a waste because you can take a lesson out of each gunfight and learn from it. Now on to the sixth mistake is forgetting to use your tacticals and your lethals. So many times when I'm playing with randoms, I often see them not using their tactical and lethal equipment enough. Either they forget to use it during a gunfight, or they don't know the right time to use it. With stims, stunts, and snapshots, not only do they work when you're on the offense, but they're just as good if you're using it defensively. If you have an enemy team pushing you, use your snapshot so you'll know where they're coming from. If your enemy is coming through a hall, a stun can turn the tide of a fight instantly. And if you're in a jam and need to create space between yourself and an enemy player, pop a stim to give yourself time to reposition. The same can be said with lethal equipment. Other than throwing knives, Semtexes, frags, and thermites are the most popular lethals in the game, and they're great when you're pushing houses or buildings. Make it a habit whenever you're pushing to throw your lethals, even if you don't cause damage and get any downs. More often than not, the enemy team will feel pressure and cause a sense of panic, and can increase your chances of winning a gunfight when you push in. On to the 7th mistake that noobs are still making, and it's not taking advantage of third parties enough. Whenever you hear a gunfight or see red dots on the minimap, unless you're in a terrible spot, you should always third party. Third party in gunfights gives you a perfect opportunity to get some easy kills because the other teams are distracted. Even if you arrive to the scene too late, the enemy team is usually flustered, weak, and usually won't expect another team immediately pushing them. So go ahead and push every red dot you see and you'll find yourself winning a lot of these gunfights. Now the 8th mistake that I still see is not looking at the minimap often. Using the minimap is so important in Warzone. Using it to see where your enemies are by the red dot is what most people use it for, but you can use it for so much more. Use it for knowing where your teammates' positions are relative to where you are. This is really important when you're pushing an enemy team so you know where to position yourself or if you need to back off if your teammate is lagging behind. Using the minimap is also great for knowing where to maneuver around a building or a house, or knowing the terrain when you're moving across the map. Using the minimap is essential, and using it greatly enhances your awareness in the game, so use it more often. Now a bonus tip that I have is to be consistent in the gulag. I find doing the same thing all the time in the gulag increases your chances of winning because you're familiar in your movement and you can predict the enemy's location simply because of the repetition. So whatever you're doing, whether that's going to the left or you're going to the right side, or maybe you're just staying at your spawn location using the heady, just stick to the same routine. You'll find that your gulag win percentage will increase and stay consistent. And that is it, guys. I hope you found this list useful, and I really hope that you can implement some of these tips in your sessions. As always, if you took away even one thing from this video, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel so you never miss any future content. Also, we just started streaming on Twitch, and if you want to see me live 5 days a week, you can click on the link below in the description to join our small but growing community. Hope to see you there, and until then YouTube, peace and have a good one.